Good morning. We'll call this meeting to order. If you would all please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome everyone. It is January 13th. This is the Broadwater County Commissioner meeting. Before we start, we do have a Broadwater County open meeting policy that is posted in the courthouse. It was approved by the commission by vote of the board. It was also adopted by resolution last week. The purpose of this policy is to open Broadwater County public meetings to all county citizens. We realize we have a fiscal and fiduciary responsibility to conduct county business as efficiently as possible for all Broadwater County residents. Commission meetings are recorded and are on YouTube, so please state your full name prior to public comment for the record. Any separate conversations need to be removed from the meeting and conducted outside. Outbursts will not be tolerated. Public comment will be prior to the meeting and last for 3 minutes per person who wishes to speak. All comments will be directed to the board chair or presiding officer. So with that, we will start with public comment. Is there any public comment? Joan?
Joan Hill, I've got some questions. We're still got 2 people on paid administrative leave, do we not? And I also want to know if anybody is doing their jobs.
State your name.
The financial officer and the DNSO.
All right, thank you very much. Any other public comment?
My name's Cheryl Campbell. I have copies of my little comment that I usually make. Commissioner Obert, Commissioner Gravely, Commissioner Slifka, in light of the Montana Supreme Court ruling published late Thursday night, Thursday, January 9th, 2014, I would request you reconsider the wording in the Broadwater Open Meeting Policy and Procedure Resolution. I'm specifically referring to the phrase in the Broadwater Open Meeting Paper in which the general public is allowed to observe commissioners' meetings. Being allowed to observe does not seem to be in the same spirit of the law as set out in the state of Montana's Constitution concerning the right to know and the right to participate provisions. I further request you add the revision of the open meeting policy to the January 20th or next regularly scheduled meeting agenda. I additionally request you respond to this request in writing to me, advising me of the date for the appropriate Broadwater County open meeting policy revision, no later than January 17th, 2014.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners, Kim Ravendall, Townsend, and I appreciate the opportunity to come before you this morning. I was going to bring up the case on the Supreme Court and our policy here for having an active participating role with the meetings as provided for under Article 2, Section 8 of our Montana Constitution. I think that's pretty well covered, and I'll be looking forward to that response from the Commission. I would like to reiterate a problem that we continue to have, and my purpose here this morning is to just try and move forward so we can get past some of these issues that continually, every week, come up. And I offer the agenda once again. I honestly, being here on a weekly basis, have no clue of what you guys are doing or what the agenda is in, and that prohibits, and I emphasize prohibits, the opportunity to actively participate or even know what's going on. And I will just use the example of 1:30 p.m. On your agenda for today. That says PILT. Well, come on, folks. How is anybody supposed to constructively participate in that process when that's all it says? Another thing is I understand that there's been a revision to this that was sent out last week at the beginning of the week. I respectfully request that if this is going to be revised, why doesn't that go out to all the people that are on the mailing list that are asking to be involved in this process? I never got a revision. I talked to several other people and they didn't get a revision, but now I see that there's a 3 o'clock closed door meeting. I have no idea what the closed door meeting is about. We need to be able to understand what's happening in advance so that we can understand what's happening, and the citizens are who you folks work for. We need to be there. Thank you very much, Madam Chair, Commissioners. I'll just look forward to having some corrections made so we can move forward.
Thank you. Any other public comment? John?
John Wright, I talked to the new owner of the Perry Building here the other day. His name's Alan, I can't retain his last name, Wood Products. And he's got some problems apparently with the county and what they've already done on a thing. So is there any input from the commissioners about what's happened to the Perry Building? Laura?
This is public comment, so any requests, we'll wait for later in the day. So if you have any further public comment, you are more than welcome to make it at this time.
That's
Oh,
just what
what's the
Kim was
question?
talking about.
I'd like to know what the question is. What's the question with this new owner? I mean,
Well, he challenged what the county had already done to the building, and it was causing him some problems, and what he was trying to work out with the owners. So, exactly, I don't know. He didn't go all the way, but it was a problem, and had
I didn't know anything was done at that building, but
well, money spent on it, and things that was done that apparently is coming back from the real estate brokers, some questions.
I think the only money I spent was for that,
Engineering.
from that engineering.
Well, wasn't that a pretty good bit of money?
I think it was $4,000 or $5,000.
Okay.
But
But that wouldn't have changed anything.
that shouldn't affect him any,
Well, you know.
unless the county never paid for it.
No, I'm sure we did.
Because it come out of solid waste, so.
It's been paid.
Was it paid?
Ryan says yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't do anything to the building except walk through it. I didn't carry a mop with me when I left, so clean the floor.
All right,
There
any
shouldn't be
other,
any charges there, John. I don't know, unless, he'd have to come forward with what it is.
hey, public comment, any other public comment? Public comment. All right, first appointment is in 5 minutes. As far as this commission knows, and I think it's been made clear by my fellow 2 commissioners, there has been nothing done by the county to the Perry Building. But if any business owner would like to come to the commission or contact any commissioner about that, we would be more than happy to hear what the issue is and address it at that time. So we will go ahead and address, how about the minutes? Take care of last week's business this week.
I've got him.
I have one copy. I'll check them over and get back to this.
While we were waiting for Franklin to go ahead and read those minutes, I did want to make a statement about our sheriff's department and state troopers. Some of you may know this, some of you may not, but there was a event this weekend in which our sheriff's department deputies and state troopers went above and beyond the call of duty. They did an incredible job of maintaining and for the public in the area of public safety. So I just want to send a very large kudos and thanks to our sheriff's department and our state troopers that we have working for us here in the county.
Could you give us a little bit more information? That's not understandable.
I think, I'm not sure what is public, what isn't, so when Min is here, we can ask him. But I think, certainly anytime one of us wants to just say thanks, we certainly can do that without going into the details of what an event is. And maybe even a standing thanks every week is not a bad idea. But I think you guys as the public should rest easy at night knowing that our deputies and state troopers are doing an awesome job for you, so. And I'm ready to
And good, I think
entertain.
every officer knows, you say beyond the call of duty, we never know, and I say, when I used to be in there too, it could be anything, anytime. Sometimes things escalate like this did, but that's what we're trained for. So,
I
and
still
they
think
did
it's,
a good job at it, where you start saying they're beyond the call of duty.
I think it's appropriate to say thanks from time to time.
Oh,
I'm ready to
thanks
enter-
is fine, yeah.
I'm ready to entertain a motion on those minutes.
I'll move the minutes be approved as.
Ready? I'll entertain a second. Or do you need another few minutes to finish reading?
Yeah. If you want, if that's what you want.
Second, Franklin?
Yes, I'll second.
Yeah, it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of January 6, 2014. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you, Aaron. This is a letter that we sent out June 7th, 2011. And that is a letter we sent in support of the Forest Jobs and Recreation Act. Last Monday afternoon, there was a meeting in Bozeman. Ed Regan was there representing RY Timber. Secretary of State Bob Brown was there also in support. There were several county commissioners there as well. What I am wondering is, this commission is on record as supporting the Forest Jobs and Recreation Act. And it is a case where people came together from all facets of the timber industry, outfitters, recreationists, timber companies, loggers, environmental groups, Trout Unlimited, and they put together a bill. And that bill has recently gone through the Senate and is in the House subcommittee at this time. So BCDC has voiced their support of the bill with Congressman Gaines, who sits on that committee. I think it's the Natural Resources Committee. And I would like to, with the support of the commission, send the bulk of that letter via email, which is Congressman Gaines' preferred mode of communication, to him to reiterate our support.
Madam Chair.
We'll take public comment a little bit later in the day.
It's on this issue.
We'll go ahead and take public comment a little bit later in the day. I'm gonna have the commission comment at this time. And this is just a reiteration of the support that we have had in the past for the Forest Jobs and Recreation Act.
I would make a motion that we send an email to Congressman Daines in support of the bill.
Okay, thank you. I'll entertain a second.
I'm for, okay, I think if there's some comments, you should hear them now before we do anything else.
Franklin?
And he's,
As the presiding officer of this board, I am gonna follow.
and I'm also a member
Open.
too.
And that's true. I am going to follow the Broadwater County open meeting policy that was approved by this board, both as its own standing document and in the form of a resolution. And this is being done so that everyone has the equal opportunity to participate in our meetings. So, for the issue at hand, do you second the motion?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded then to go ahead and send an email to Congressman Daines concerning our support of the Forest Jobs and Recreation Act. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Mhm.
Franklin?
Mhm.
Is that an aye?
Yes.
For the record, thank you. Motion carries. All right, 10:15, we have Brian Hohen, Solid Waste Supervisor, and monthly update.
Good morning.
Morning.
Things are going fairly well in the solid waste department. We did complete the interview process for an additional employee. That employee was started last week. Brent Beebe is his name. It was we had a good pool of applicants for that position, and I believe the committee that interviewed those people made the best decision they could. Brent brings a lot of skills to the table, and I think he'll work out well for the department. Other than that, we've just been getting things caught up and staying ahead of trash. We did receive a phone call this morning from the landfill outside of East Helena that requested that if we could put off bringing a load to them today, that we do because of the wind. And I said that would probably not be a problem. We should be able to have a truck loaded and ready to go by the end of the day today, and then bring it in first thing in the morning. Hopefully the wind will be down by then. And that's the major thing that we've been working on too, is just keeping ahead of the wind. It makes a mess wherever you're at. One thing that did happen since the last time I was here, we had a little incident with a canister, and we had a citizen put, I will say, warm ashes. I don't know if they were hot or if they were just some coals in there, in a canister from the Dry Gulch canister site. We picked it up with the canister truck, and driving down the road, it flared that. Steve noticed that it was smoking as he turned the corner up here by the commercial bar to head out to the transfer station. Got across the river bridge, set the canister down off the truck, called the fire department, kept people away from it, and fire department showed up, put some water on it. We took care of it. Additionally, at the transfer station, we put it on the ground, put some more water on it, let it sit over the weekend before we pushed it into the truck, and problem resolved. Did minimal damage to the canister. We were able to correct that fairly easy. But it was a good exercise for the department. Steve did everything correctly, preserved the assets, and managed it well. It was a pretty good fire. I went by with the semi, and it was pretty out of control at the time I went by, and then the fire department showed up and took care of it. So it was a good exercise for them as well. They don't get to see things like that on a regular basis. One of the things that we have to deal with, people being careless in where they put their fireplace cleanings, and we do have ash cans at all the sites. This person just chose not to use that, whether they thought the ashes were cool enough or what. It happens. I caught an individual at the city site the other day doing the same thing. Dumped ashes into a trash can into the canister, and I kind of got excited and let him know that isn't where they belong. And he said, "Oh, they've been sitting in this can for a week." I said, "I really don't care. We put these cans here for ashes. Please use them." I said, "I don't want the canister fire." And that was how that shook out. Other than that, I think that's about it. We do have a couple of openings on the solid waste board. If any of the concerned citizens would like to be an active part of county government, they're more than welcome to put their name in the hat for that. I do have a question for the commission. The solid waste board put a lot of time into looking at a location for our cardboard baler. Due to circumstances beyond our control, that never came to fruition. So I need to ask the commission, where can we put that thing? We are managing around it right now with loading our cardboard loose and hauling it to Belgrade loose. We're not getting the most revenue out of that we can. We're not putting that baler to efficient use, and we need to come up with a solution. So my question is to you folks is, where can we put it?
Any
I
thoughts?
guess we just do some looking, checking, if anybody had any ideas or whatever.
Were you gonna do some, looking at the yard there, with, forget who you were gonna work
Dana
with?
was gonna do some checking on
And where is that at?
the county yards there.
Where is it at in the process? Have you done it?
No, Donnie Klein was supposed to get back to me, and he hasn't. When he gets time, we're gonna go over there. I talked to Dana, and kinda walked around there some. That's one of the things in the process.
Well, every day we wait is a harder process for me to deal with. I need a location.
But you're getting rid of cardboard now, right?
We're managing it.
Well, when things come
When-
around, we'll try.
When the
to-
weather breaks and the trash picks up, we will not be able to do what we're doing now. Right now, we have 2 of our 40-yard canisters tied up in cardboard. We don't have that option when the spring hits and trash picks up.
You get that much cardboard all the time. That's good.
It's been about 2 weeks and we filled 2 40-yard canisters of cardboard. Or about a month, I'd say.
I had no idea that,
When you don't compact it, it takes up more room.
oh, for sure.
Do you think, Franklin, you could expedite, the work you've already done with Dana and the work that's pending with Donnie, and maybe give Brian a call Wednesday or Thursday of this week with, some suggestions?
Yeah, I'll check with Donnie and see what's taking place at, yeah, we'll figure out something. As long as we get rid of it, it's going, so we'll surely have something figured out by spring or else, we'll come up with something, I guess.
Should go ahead and give him a call this week with some update from your conversations, just so he knows where you're at.
So we'll do.
Okay, excellent. That work okay?
And that's about all I got.
All right. Any
Thank you.
questions from the board?
Go ahead, Angela.
Manager, who are we losing on the board?
We lost Chris Stolpe, stepped down a while ago, and we had Dawn Reynolds, she lives in the Winston area, she stepped down a while ago too, so we've got 2 openings on that board.
Any suggestions?
We thought we had a couple lined up, but they decided against it. Steve Spiker was one of them, he would have been good,
Yeah.
but he elected not to pursue it.
We could have Debbie put the thing in the paper.
I think that's not a bad idea.
I think it was advertised here a while back, wasn't it?
But it doesn't hurt to remind, put another advertisement out there.
Okay?
Yeah.
We will continue to keep track of
I know as far as those dumpster fires, I remember years ago, and that was almost weekly. And when they put those ash barrels there, it really slowed down. It's not very often now. Other than that, I don't have any questions, unless somebody else has a question for him while he's here.
Any updates you have too for us this week, just feel free to give us a call. So,
it. Okay,
thank you.
you bet. Thanks.
Thanks for what you do, Brian.
All right, we have 5 minutes before our next appointment, so we'll go ahead and resume mail for just a minute. This is from Vigilante Electric, District Number 3 membership meeting. It will be January 16 at 7 o'clock at the Austin Fire Hall. I'm not gonna read the whole letter. They are looking for Board of Trustee members. Board of Trustees shall call a separate meeting of the members of each district for the purpose of selecting persons as candidates, and nominations for candidates for trustees shall be made from the floor at the meeting, and any member residing in the district shall have the right to nominate 1 candidate, and then there are some qualifications. So if anyone is interested, or you guys know of any citizens who might fit that well,
Yeah, I got that.
please let them know. This was given to us by the County Health Department, and with the request that we share this information. The WIC program is Women, Infants, and Children. And it is a program to make sure that they have the nutrition they need. And the amount of money last year that they spent at Bob's Thriftway Supermarket, which is our only grocery store, was $94,952. So quite a chunk. Just shows that we do have partnerships with local businesses. It's good for everybody. It's win-win.
That's quite a difference between Broadwater, Jefferson, and Mar.
Yes.
I mean, Jefferson half that, and Mar at only 20,000.
Yeah. Jefferson is almost double our size in population.
And two bigger towns.
Yeah.
What is this, Elaine, how's it still there?
Okay, this is the total that we spent on WIC.
Mm-hmm.
It was spent at Bob's Superette, was the 94,000. And in Jefferson County, they spent for WIC 52,000, and in Mar 20,000. It's called for women, infants,
Yeah,
and
you're right,
children.
I realize that,
And they get milk and cereal and
and then we pay
Fruit
this, or
take.
then we reimburse back for this, or how's that take place? I don't know.
it's a grant with the state.
Oh, okay.
That
The
might
grant
tell something here.
reimburses us then after. Man, that seems awful high, but, I mean, that's what it is, but, they reimburse us back, and that's how it
They send us money and then we send it out.
is. Kinda like the food stamp program type thing.
Yes.
They get a voucher or something to that
Uh-huh.
effect. Okay, that's what I was.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's good that we can do that.
Right. I think it shows the effectiveness of the program and the impact on the local business, which equates to the impact on the local economy.
It's just sad that there's that many that need it.
True.
That's what I
True.
said too, yeah, it is, that's.
That's very high.
Yeah.
Better than half of the kids at the school get free lunches. That's what I've been told.
Yeah. So the last thing we have on mail is public notice. This is a wastewater discharge permit for the city of Forsyth. So it's just an FYI in case anybody you guys know in that area is not aware.
Yeah, that's been brought up here a couple times already. Nothing to do with us with Foresight.
All right, 10:30, Win Meehan, Under Sheriff, Search and Rescue Building.
Where do we sit, Ian? Where
One, two,
We're
three,
still
four.
working to sit right in the middle. Alright, is your partner coming up?
Oh, no, he's here just, he's moral support. Obviously, again, here to talk about search and rescue, and then the changes that's happened. Obviously, get to the future, gotta go to the past a little bit. So, in 2011, Brandon Harris was our search and rescue coordinator. He resigned after a 6-year stint of doing that. When he left, I had 3 search and rescue members. We've come a long ways. We are currently at 21, and I have another app in my file for approval from the Search and Rescue Board. That being said, we have cross-gender, so we have male and female, and we try to do trainings and have meetings and be more organized, and obviously we don't have a bathroom. We have an outhouse, and a couple months ago, when it was 40 below zero outside, our outhouse was frozen, and inside the building was 51 degrees with both heaters blowing. That's obviously an issue. Last month's meeting, again, 51 degrees, I wore 2 coats and drank a whole bunch of coffee to stay warm. Problem with that being said is when people, if it's cold, they don't want to attend. If it's training or a meeting, they come to the meeting and they disappear. That's no way to define a search and rescue team by training. And so what I want to do is I want to make a training room in there, lower the ceilings, because right now they're 14 to 16 feet, and those 2 little heaters in there aren't doing anything. And lower the ceiling down, make a training room in there with a bathroom facility. So when I get these people in, obviously 21 people, it takes time. It's not something that you can do in 15, 20 minutes. And if they're leaving to go use the restroom, they're no longer engaged into what we're doing, and we've come a long ways. Last year, we had probably 10, 12 significant searches and rescues with only one recovery. And that was Gordon McGaugh, who passed away from a heart-related issue. So that was a recovery mission versus a rescue. But we've had some rescues out in the water. We've had where the guy fell while rock climbing and discharged his firearm and shot himself in the heart. He lived, and things like that. So we've come a long ways, and being tasked with being the coordinator from the sheriff, I've told her, just let me do it and make it what it needs to be, and she's been very good with that. However, we just don't have the funding within the search and rescue budget. Last year, we expended a lot of money last year to do a lot of the things that never got done, i.e. insulation, sheeting, sheetrock, to kind of hold some of the heat and block out some of the cold. But there's not enough money in the search and rescue budget, nor should I think it should come out of operations of the search and rescue budget. So we actually have the ability to go to the bathroom or do whatever. But I don't know if you guys know most of the search and rescue members. Obviously Roger Vetters, our vice president, Chris Davis, who's the engine captain for the Forest Service, is our president. Ron Brugg is the secretary, and Dan Rowe from the ambulance is our treasurer. In the midst of that, you also have Kevin McDonald, who works for Fish and Game. You have John Hedstrom, who's a very active participant. Brandon Boylan with Montana Records Management. He's had to come to shreds all our documents for us. His company was actually nice enough and donated $1,600 to buy coats with, because we didn't have search and rescue coats. Jeff Brown, he's a RN with St. Pete's. He's also a rock climber. He's also a diver. Hayden Lohr is also a diver. He's on our team. Rusty Ruckert, former Fish and Game. He's also reserved with us. He's kind of got his hands in lots of things. Trying to think who else is down that list. Daryl Howard, he's a taxidermist out in the Silos area. Roger, who am I missing?
Ray,
Ray.
Jay,
Oh, Jay, yeah, Jay Reitnauer. I think he works for American Chemist. We also have, I just had one, I lost it. But they're all community members, and they're volunteering their time. They don't get paid for this. And they're taking time away from their work and their families to come out and help. And we've had some that, the Gordon McGaugh case started on Wednesday at 7 o'clock at night, 7:30 at night, and it got completed about 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday. So these guys are taking their times away from a lot of things to come out and participate in. It's just one of those things, if I can make it work a little bit better, we can train a little bit harder, then life will be good and we have something to be proud of. You know, the past practices within the sheriff's office and search and rescue, as far as I can tell, just going through the years past, is that if the situation deemed too much for us to handle, it was an automatic call to Gallatin County or Lewis and Clark. Well, that's great, and they love to help, but the reality is they have their own issues. Jefferson County helped us with Gordon McGaugh, and they did a great job. However, they had a search going of their own at the same time, and so did Lewis and Clark County. We can't keep relying on, I need to get these guys trained and equipped and everything else, and where they're committed to that organization, so I don't have to rely on outside sources. So, a lot's going on there, and I hate to come here and say, I need, but unfortunately, I need. And Mike Myers has gone down and looked at it. He's got some presumptive numbers, I know it's high, but I think, you know, we're not losing money, we're investing into, not only into a county-owned building, but we're also investing into an organization that's out there to save lives. So, I don't know if you guys have this, I can leave it with you, if that would work, you guys can discuss it.
That would be great.
And Chairman, I do have
Yes.
a question. About what do you think it would take?
According to Mike's figures, give or take, $12,123 for the meeting room, and that's lowering the ceiling, taking out one of the garage doors. Because all they did, I don't know if you're familiar with the search and rescue building, the old building was there forever, it was 2 stalls.
It was the old highway building even.
Yeah, and they just built around it. Instead of taking the thing down, they built around it. Well, it's got huge doors in it, and the ceiling's tall, there's nothing in it, it's just a...
The shell?
Yeah, it's a shell, and then we built a shell around it to make it even worse, but, you know, so we're gonna bring the ceilings down to 8 foot. Mike said that he could get, those new trusses that go across there. They can actually have storage up above it, which helps out tremendously,
That's what I was
because we
gonna
don't have enough. We actually just, Towns Marina just donated a four-wheeler to search and rescue. And it's a program that Yamaha has, and every 6 months he will rotate that four-wheeler out. Only thing we have to do is keep insurance on it and do the maintenance if we use it, and when it's done, we make sure that we pay the bill for whatever it's been used for. So that's already in the process. So we had one four-wheeler, now we'll have two. We do have 3 vehicles. Unfortunately, we need to get rid of one of them because it's old, it's outdated. And to be honest with you, when I took over search and rescue with 3 personnel, it was great. I can move everybody. The problem is I got 21. I don't have enough vehicles now to even move the crew that I have. And I don't like having people drive the personal rigs, because then we have to cover that if they hit the deer or whatever else. I don't have a problem fixing a county-owned car. I just have a problem fixing personal rigs when they're out doing stuff for us in the first place. So, but that's a conversation for later, obviously. But you know, it's $6,740 for the bathroom, and I believe that's, and that was when he just had just a regular loft above it. I think you guys had a discussion about that at one point, if I remember correctly. I just put a bathroom in and then put a little storage loft above it. And I said, let's do this, because I can't use the outlets, I can't put anything on the wall. I wanted to get a dry erase board so we can obviously use that in training. I'd like to be able to at some point get a TV so we can actually play training videos and use those things, or even, I asked them about hooking up internet and wire to the building, not hooking up a service, but at some juncture, I would like to be able to get internet so we can do those web-based trainings that are taking on place everywhere, and try to utilize that a little more easier, I guess. The other thing is, I don't have enough outlets to plug in stuff, because there's like 2 on, I think there's 1 or 2 on each wall, and that's it. So, just trying to get it to an environment that's conducive to our goals and mission here, and that's to go out and obviously save lives in the facets of everything that's going on. We have rock climbing, avalanche problems, obviously, ice rescue, obviously, you know, drownings. We have lots of things that are going on. We're getting put out there quite a bit, and that's just from the wildland side. Even you look at the searches for the delusional person that walks away from home. You know, the mental health people who just walk away. You know, we have to deal with that as well. And I think if I can do this, you know, at some point I can even use it as an operations center that fits everybody, and we can put the maps up and we can put teams in. And I think it's a good investment for what it is. It's not a ton of money. It's some money, I understand that, but it's not, I mean, the grand scheme of things, 12,000 in the grand scheme of things isn't that bad. And you know, I always tell people, what's a human life worth? If you can put a dollar sign on it, let me know. But you know, if I get enough people together and we do the right things and we keep growing the way we're going, I mean, I put 4 or 5 on in the last 2 months. Search and rescues, people are wanting to be involved now, which is a good sign. So I'll leave this with you. Talk about it. You can give me a call. I'm always at my desk. Well, no, I'm not, but whoever wants it.
Thank you.
And then, and there's some things, there's probably some variances in there. And Mike, I asked Mike to be here, and I know he's busy trying to put the boards back on the building, but, you know, his concern is that he might have to utilize Jerry a little more than what he was allotted, and I understood that as well, but it's an approximate, it's not a set in stone number, but with those numbers, Mike was able to get the contractor discount from wherever his contractor discount's at, so, which saves us a good chunk of change as well, so, and all of that stuff Mike is capable of doing, so, but.
Madam Chair, I have one more question.
Absolutely.
Is the restroom gonna have a shower?
Yes.
Okay, because we had talked about that at one time.
And, you know, depending on what's going on, you know, there's times where you get into things, and you've been there, where you get in a situation, you go, I don't wanna go home with this crap on me, you know? And so I think that's a good utilization of that, and then if we do have somebody who gets cold from a water rescue or whatever, we can get them in a shower, get them warmed up before we start putting them in a car and sending them down the way. Because we do have some travel time for some of these folks. There's Lane Halverson's on there too, I forgot about that. And he lives, what, up on North Fork Road, I think, somewhere there. So he's got a little job to do as well. So, my understanding is that we're gonna do the toilet sink and the shower, get it to code, and that's the other problem, obviously, is we have a 1970 structure, 1960 structure, and then we wrapped a 2012 or 10 structure around it, and nothing's quite completely to code. And I think that kind of put a Band-Aid over a bullet wound initially. They knew they need more room, but they didn't know how to do it, so they did the least, most expensive way. And now we're just trying to get it to where it needs to be, just to make life easy for everybody. So, yeah, that's my whole spiel.
I think it's,
Question. Oh, go ahead.
Madam Chairman, I think it's needed.
I do.
I flat out think it's needed.
And we, like I said, our search and rescue, for years, we might have had 1 or 2 calls a year. We might have had 3. Last year, it was all the time. Hunting season, we had 3 or 4 different ones, even folks, we had, Chris Davis and I and Roger and, Ron Brood, we had a gal who was, what was she, 98, Raj?
Yeah.
98, I think 89, and somewhere in their 60s, went for a joyride and got stuck on top of the Elkhorns. And they told us where they said, this is a road we went. Well, they weren't even close, and they said, we're stuck in the snowdrift. And with Chris's ability and experience with the Forest Service, he knew, he goes, this time of year, if they're in a snowdrift, there's literally only one spot they can be in the Elkhorns. And he went, all right, I'll drive. And we drove up, and there they were, 3 old gals sitting in the car, sideways in the road, because they tried to get turned around and got stuck. They had no business being where they were at in the first place, but it was not in that car. But it was pretty humorous. But we're even dealing with things like that. We're just getting out and trying to be involved in Montana, and we understand that. But the rock climbing, there's a lot of rock climbers in the Indian Creek area. There's a lot of rock climbers out in the Avalanche area. That's where the last big incident occurred with a guy who shot himself in the heart. So we're really getting pushed to the limits here, and it's nice now we actually have 2 divers on our team. Don't have the equipment for it, but we have them, and so Will Silver works in practice. I'm glad you can join us, sir. Hey, you better late than never, and you're kind of a big deal, so. So,
Yeah, look, question, if this would work out in this room, we talked about it once before, things, could it be worked out so that, say the road crew needs to use a shower or any other county personnel, can this room be separated enough so, I don't think it'd be a problem with county personnel coming in, but if you have some certain things out,
Well, we've actually done pretty good about, if you guys haven't been in there, John Hedstrom's done a wonderful job. John has gone in on his lunch break, I think the guy lives there, to be honest with you, but he goes in, he's been working on the boats, the foilers, everything, trying to get everything fixed, it's there. We got a bunch of shelving donated from McCarthy's Plumbing when they did some of their changes. And so he's been in there and he's got all of our stuff separated, and most of it's out in those, out in the stalls and everything. So there's not a whole bunch that's right there in there. My goal would be to actually change the lock system on that building to more what the firehouse has with the combination. It seems like every couple of months I'm going in and buying more keys for search and rescue at $6 a whack. I'm to the point now where, why not just put a combination lock on it and call it good, and I won't have to buy another key. But I don't know why I couldn't. And I guess my overall goal would be to kind of cover up those drains, because they're a hazard if anybody walked in there with the heel of any nature. They got the big old grates in there. But then it honestly could be used for emergency operations center. The sheriff's office is great, but guess what? There's not enough room over there anymore. And if something big is going on, we just don't have the space. The other thing is we could also use force and outside training as well. We have the ability to have you have a search and rescue rendezvous. We have everything we need here. We got avalanche. You can do avalanche training here. You can do high angle rescue training here. You can do water rescue training, ice and open water. We have 34 miles of lake. We have the river itself, so we can do some swift water in the spring. We have the ability to host some of these functions as well and bring some people in the community. And the same note, if we had to use some of the hospital situation where they needed to evacuate their patients, like that last drill they did, reality is they could be taken as well. They're out of the way. If we got it to the situation where it's a stable, warm environment above 51 degrees, and they had some ability to have electricity and stuff like that, then they could actually use that system as well without having a whole bunch of issues. That's my goal, because I wanted to leave one roll-up door, a partial part of it, so in case we had to thaw something out, we could re-roll it in there, still have a little bit of a drain, but not have these big grates that are in there. So I look at it, there's multiple functions for it if we have it. We just gotta get to a point where it works, so that's my opinion.
As long as we work for these other agencies to be able to come in, that's, is there a petition in there now? Have they put one?
Well, they left the original walls in there, so,
I haven't been in there for a long
yeah,
time.
yeah, it's changed a lot.
I'd like
Last
to
year,
go take a look at it and see just,
they spent, the search and rescue guys, they spent about 15 grand out of their budget last year to insulate it, sheet the walls, get some heat put in there. Yeah, granted, 51 degrees is still warmer than 44 below, I understand that, but it's not, it's there, but it's not quite where it needs to be. And, you know, it's just getting more and more, and they're doing good, so. Anything, Chief? Right, sure?
We talked about it.
Well, we talked about it, I don't have any talk about it, you know.
What did you talk about to them? You talked about what you want to do in there. Okay.
What kind of a timeline are we looking at to do this?
Well, the problem is like with the bathroom, he's gotta cut out the floor and then tap into the sewer. And he's talked to Tim Rouser down there about doing that as well. There's a water line in there, so we're kind of good in that aspect, but Super Trooper Mike might have to clarify.
Yeah, we have to tap into the sewer line out in the alley. And I talked to Tim, and we have to dig up, he inspects it when we tie into it. We have to go underneath the foundation to come up.
right.
So, and that's the hardest part of the whole job, is that.
Are you gonna, put this above the floor, or are you gonna break out the concrete?
We're gonna break out the
Break it out,
concrete.
okay.
Yeah, I'd break out the concrete, there's no.
You're gonna have to break it out anyway to get the pipe in there.
Yeah, and I wouldn't wanna raise the floor and have a raised floor in there and then have a tripping. It'd be better off if we can just leave it all flat, and then also maybe put a floor drain in the middle of the bathroom too. So that if there's a splash over from a shower or anything, or any kind of plumbing problem, then we'd have a drain out.
Is this work, Mike, something that you and Jerry could do? Would you have to subcontract out, and do you have any idea how much time, if it is just you and Jerry?
I know that Jerry and I can do it. There's some time frame, there's some time in there that Jerry's only allowed so many hours a week. And there's where my problem's gonna come into, where we have to talk about what we do about adding hours of Jerry. You add hours of Jerry, then you're gonna have to put them on insurance. 'Cause I'm right there at the limit right now.
Well, the other thing, if we get started, is that there wouldn't be no big rush. I mean, sure, you'd like to get it done as soon as possible. I know we're ready to move in there tomorrow, but, I think it probably, we're gonna have to kind of schedule it.
With all the other projects still, I'm gonna have, we're gonna have to really talk about adding some hours to it.
And it might be maybe, like you say, search and rescue guys have been doing a lot of work, and maybe they can get work out some of those too.
Well, I think, you know, when it comes down to the painting or anything like that, I'd probably go down there and do that. I mean, what else I got to do besides work, so, they call me out at night anyways, but, you know, I don't know, they've come down and they've done a lot. I mean, even if it's a work party to go in and do something, I don't think it's a huge issue.
I think it'd be an initiative for
Yeah,
them to.
you know, and I don't think, reality-wise, I mean, when they come in for mission stuff, we're covering them for workers' comp anyhow, so I don't know if we say, hey, we're gonna do a work meeting, and it's no different than having an actual call-out, I wouldn't imagine, and we could do some of those things as well. I mean, we're all capable of.
Roger'd like to do a lot more now. He's retired. He needs something to do.
You know what he does? The man's dedicated. He spends a lot of time calling me and coming and seeing me, and he's on board with a lot of stuff. He does. We've got a great crew right now. We really do. I mean, they really put a lot of effort in. You know, we got this. GPS is, we never had GPS, it tells you where we were at, search and rescue, we never had GPS. And now we have 5 of them, and Chris is working on those. Forest Service is actually working on getting us maps, topographical maps for our entire county. You know, we've just got lots of things that are coming, a lot of things are coming into play. You know, last month, just here last week, we had a meeting and we did some ice rescue training with the ice sled and the ice suits and stuff, and we do the GPSs, and we've got now pagers. So now, if you listen to Scannerland, you're gonna hear the pager go off for search and rescue. We're back to that again, and so we've come a long ways, but I just need to get to a point where we can all get them in a room and not have people running because they're cold, or they have to go to the bathroom, or whatever else. I think in a good training, conducive environment leads to good things, so I'll leave it at that, unless you have something else, or Sparky do.
No, I just think that it would be a little easier if I had the guy who I've been working with over the last year helping me more than anybody else. Because, you know, you work with somebody all the time, things go faster. Right now, we're stretched to the limit with the projects that I do have, some of the smaller projects, and with just my normal duties, I'm pretty stretched without having more hours added to Jerry. To be honest.
Well, maybe good for a short time to get this done. That's just something we'll have to decide on this.
Well, and, you know, if you guys got questions, I think it's an approximate, you know, there's probably gonna be a hiccup here and there, but, you know, I hope everybody's got my cell phone. I mean, every reporter in the state's got my cell phone, so I'm easy to find. If you have a question, just call me and I'm more than happy.
I'd like to run with you and look at some of
Yeah,
that.
it's really come a long way. I
I'm
mean,
not that
they've really done, the guys have done a great job. You know, they've embraced it, they've done great. They've made it their own, and they even rewrote their bylaws. I hear, that was last year. You know, Chris Davis, who's the president here right now, was the president of Shoto County Search and Rescue as well, and I think he was there for like 13 years, so he has lots of experience in that aspect. And so he's given a lot of guidance, and Roger, with his enthusiasm, has done lots of things. And he's kind of the grandfather of search and rescue, because he has prior experience from the Gallatin County Posse as well. So, you know, we've got a good crew. I like to keep them. So we've got some forward motion. I'd like to keep it going that way and get to the level that I think we can be at. So.
You know, another thing, probably gonna be considered, I don't know if there's any in Montana, but I know in Wyoming where they're all climbing those peaks all the time a lot. Now they're charging when they come in and rescue and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think if you,
It's,
it's
you
one of
you
those-
get pretty good donations usually,
Yeah,
don't you still?
Yeah, well, we've been doing pretty good. We've got a few donations from some of the last missions, which help, but, you know, I think if you go to, you're out of bounds, I think there's some legalities there. You know, we used to operate off using DES money. If you had a mission, you could submit. The DES money is, pretty bleak anymore. It didn't fund itself like they thought it was going to off of license plates and stuff of that nature, since everybody was, getting permanent plates. It didn't quite work out the way it needs to be. And Fish and Game's got a huge pot of money, but to get that money from those guys is like an act of Congress. No one's having much luck with it. So our missions aren't being reimbursed like they used to be. And it's putting a tax on a more local level than it used to. So, being on the MSPOA board, the discussion we have on a regular basis is search and rescue and DES money and Fish and Game money, and how we can operate, since we were required by law to have a search and rescue, and manage and maintain it. You know, how do we do it with what we've got? So, we're seeing the increase. So we get all these new folks that come in and they want to do crazy stuff too, like they go jump off a cliff with a parachute. Yeah, and then I'll get tied up in a tree. Come and get me. You know, that's just the life we live now. So, goodness gracious. So.
Right, any more questions, any more on this particular subject?
No, I think, I guess if you could check on any of that Fish and Game stuff, I think it's available, the more you have,
Yeah.
the easier it'd be for us to get something.
Yeah, well, and they said that, you know, they're like, well, if we have, you know, it has to be, that was interesting. they're like, it's meant for fishing and hunting. Well, okay, and if you have a fishing and hunting, they're still going no, so they're just being complicated. So, but, well, let me know, and,
Okay.
We also have that from you, Win, and I'm just wondering, we
Oh.
can certainly discuss that this afternoon.
okay,
But are you authorized to sign the claim?
Yeah.
Okay,
well, yeah, she said she was gonna, Brenda handed me this. I didn't actually do this one out. Brenda
Oh,
actually wrote
okay.
it. I think she might have she was going a billion different directions, and she said, write me the note. Cause this is one of those things that, we discussed a couple years ago. It was real hard to get the meth lab guys to come in. But, when I was working in narcotics, all the way up till 2006, when we do a meth lab, we took it to the crime lab, they tested it, sent it back. And so the evidence guys, whoever they were at the time, did not dispose of them when they came back. And so those meth labs sat in our evidence room for years and years and years. And they said, what do we do with it? Well, they need to go away. This is what needs to happen. And so, that's where McGillivray came in and actually just finally scooped him up and got him the heck out of here. Because none of that stuff is any good by any form or fashion. And so, that's where that came from. But if you want me to sign it, I will sign it. I don't know, where she took the, I don't know.
she doesn't say, yet, but we can certainly address that this afternoon.
Yeah, just let me know.
Okay,
She was working on this, I remember that. She's been kind of all over the board a little bit here, with her little traffic crashes. That's definitely altered her, ability to sit down for any period of time, so.
thank you very much.
So, but, yeah, she is getting better though, which is good.
Thank
So,
goodness.
she's a little stiff this morning, but you know what happened to her. Oh, she got hit by a drunk driver in East Helena.
Oh, I knew about that.
Yeah, and so he T-boned her right in the driver's door. And so she slammed into that raised center console. Didn't do well on the lower back and hips and everything. So some days she's not moving real speedy. So, but she's doing pretty good today. So, say she was in for a minute. She went and picked up our guy from this weekend, so we can bring him back. So, since we had to come brighten up your neighborhood a little bit this weekend. So, but if you guys have anything, just give me a jingle.
We move on this afternoon,
Oh, yeah.
because we're gonna talk about Hilton.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be here. I have,
Thanks,
I
Ron.
don't have anything. Thank you, Mike. I don't have any other meetings other until 7 o'clock tonight. For rodeo club. Other than that, I should be available. So, okay.
All right, can you also give the board a quick update on what happened at,
Oh,
Russell
on Friday?
Firehouse?
Yeah. Well, I don't even know what time it started. Gal called in and said her brother assaulted her, down there across the street from the bunkhouse. They, after they got in a little fight, he ran in the house, grabbed a gun, started loading it. The officers got down there. The family sat outside, and he basically barricaded himself inside the trailer. It went on for quite a time, then he's like, the only person I'm gonna talk to is Win. Okay, so I was at home enjoying an adult beverage, like I like to do on my weekends, and he called and said, he only wants to talk to you. And I spent the next hour and a half on the phone. In the meantime, he decided to take his 30-06 and crack around out the back door. 9 officers from the county side, 4 from the highway patrol, and he was suicidal, told me several times he was gonna commit suicide. Over the phone, I said, how are we gonna resolve it? He says, you come and see me in person. I said, if I come down, I said, you walk out, and we quit screwing around. And he's like, okay. So Nick came and got me. I went down there, and he wouldn't answer his phone. He wouldn't come out of the house. Walk around with a gun to his head. He had a shotgun, a 30-06, and a 22 pistol. Standing in the window, drinking his wine, whiskey, or whatever it was, and flipping me off. And finally, I said, everybody's getting amped up. The situation's getting bad. Nothing's worse than standing around 13 officers with AR-15s. And I didn't have a gun. So I was like, felt a little naked. But I actually walked up to, I don't know, maybe 20 feet from the house, 20 yards from the house. And I was yelling at him through, the front door was open, I was yelling at him. Basically told him, look, you wanted me here, I'm here. Just quit screwing up, come out and talk to me. He did, he walked out of the house, I said, he couldn't see me, so I just stepped out on the sidewalk. And he come down the stairs, gave me a hug, says, I'm sorry, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I said, well, when was the last time you been to the VA? He said, it's been a long time. I said, that's where you're going. And then he was pretty good, and then he got froggy, so I ended up handcuffing him, and he really got on the fight, so we ended up carrying him to the car, and then we had to tie his feet up, he's trying to kick out the windows, and yeah, but it all worked out, no one died, so.
Hats off to you guys for the job you do
Yeah,
Crazy.
thank
on
you
a
very
daily
much.
basis.
So, but
You do good work, thank you
Mhm.
very much.
anything?
Do I have, you know what?
Okay. We were at,
I'll just try to catch you sometime
Okay.
and look, I'd like to look at that building, but I mean, I know what
And
you
if-
need and stuff.
if you wanna talk to Roger too, he kinda knows where everything is at,
Yeah.
what they've done. I mean, we've, just whenever, you know.
My biggest question was that it work out so that other personnel could use it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's,
Sprayers or.
you know, I think there's, yeah, you're right, if it goes right through where right through that back door, I mean, there's really not gonna be anything other than tables and chairs in there, so it shouldn't be an issue. And they still want to, like I said, you wanna utilize the upper level above the ceiling for storage.
Oh,
so,
yeah, that's good.
You know, they're actually gonna take, they wanted to swap one of the heaters to the other side. Because once you lower that or raise that up, then that one heater might actually be effective up there. And they just want to put the other one on the other side so it blew out into the other bay. And I think that's just a couple of change things, but nothing, I don't think anything real extreme. But I think it'd be good, so. Now, I always forgot about the other one was the door, a manual we were gonna put in, I don't know if that was on there or not, but just to go from the training room to the outside bays
Mhm.
without rolling up the door, because I thought it was kind
Yeah.
of defeats purpose if you
Yeah.
go in
Oh, yeah.
and open up, roll up, because I would still want to keep that one roll up, but other than that, I think that's about it, so. I mean, it's just making a shell a little different, so. Yeah, so, if you guys need me, just give me a jingle. Okay?
Will do.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to me.
You bet. All right, 10:45, Julie's appearance, Centennial Insurance, Mako County Insurance Renewal. Hello, Julie. Good, how are you doing?
No, that time of year again.
Yes.
Not a lot of changes this year, just going through everything that we've done. This is the list of the property for this year.
Thank you.
The Mako has requested 3% increase for cost of, replacement costs on all the property. It was appraised, 2 years ago, so it should be good on all the values of the property. We still don't have a lot of the rodeo ground insured because I believe the rodeo insures them buildings for the bathrooms and concessions, etc. I don't think that's changed, has it?
Not
That
that-
I'm aware of.
Yeah, nobody's let us know if they
Okay.
have.
All right,
Yeah.
so,
Hold it.
yes,
It has 2 horse barns. Only one belongs to the rodeo club, the other one is county.
okay,
Sorry about that.
that's
No,
okay.
thank you.
So we want to remove one of them as covered.
Mhm. And I think the arena, the chutes, and the announcer stand is covered by the rodeo, and the large grandstand. I guess I would question, maybe get a hold of Mel Pocket. He could tell you on the small grandstands, the large grandstand, in the arena, in the food stand, in the office.
Okay,
Those are things that,
sure.
it's my understanding the rodeo club pays for, but maybe I'm wrong.
Okay,
that we need to check on that.
roping barn?
That's ours.
Okay. I'll get all them changed. And the boat docks are still at Goose Bay, but they're gonna be moved to the silos this summer? Is that
Yes.
it? Okay.
Yes.
The ticket booths at the fairgrounds, oh, okay, never mind, not covered, thank you. What is the difference between small bleachers and a small grandstand?
You know, that's how the appraiser had it, so that's why I've listed it like that. Is there two, there's the large grandstands and then the small, and then there's one over by the chutes, is that?
There's the great big one that's covered. Then there's one on the east side.
Yep. On the east side. Oh,
Kind of northeast side.
Okay.
so, yeah.
and that, there's only the two then? Okay.
Could
Well,
that be
that's-
the ones that are used for the different shows during the fair that are more in the,
They're portable?
yeah? Or would they
Does
just
the
be?
appraiser, and I can look at the appraisal on it, but they had all three listed for when they did the county appraisals 3 years ago.
Okay,
So, and I wasn't with them when they did it, so I'm just going off of, you know, what they went through and did
sure.
with each group, so.
You know, the other thing, and I guess the rodeo would be the one covering that, but there's a handicap accessible, covered seating area
I wonder if that's what they're
at the south
considering.
end.
The south
Uh,
end.
But that's what they're
I bet
talking
you
about.
that's the third one. So, that one's obviously not covered under that. So there is actually 3 out there though. One is
Basically.
portable.
No,
No,
It's
they're
not.
okay.
they're all stationary.
Okay. It's right out there. Okay, that one's not covered, and I'll check on them to make sure.
What storage building do we have at Indian Creek Road?
Is there one up by the
Is that the transfer station?
transfer station?
Oh, maybe, or the Rod and Gun Club building?
No,
the
they have
shooting
that.
range? That's separate, huh?
Mhm.
And maybe that has something to do with the transfer station.
Yeah.
I think it does.
And then I have Mike Conkey as a designated risk manager right now.
Yes.
That's changed. We have 24 full-time, 21 part-time employees, is what I checked with the office.
Okay. Would that include the entire county? That seems
And that's-
very low to me. Did you
It's different.
check with,
Tammy and Deb.
okay, they would know. All right.
Still 1 full-time and 1 part-time nurse. This does not include the sheriff's office.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Thank
okay,
you.
so, yes, I'm sorry. That's just employees, not including the sheriff's office.
Okay.
Okay, that does make a difference, yeah. We have 8 bonded officials, including yourself. We have 105 volunteers. No new boards have been appointed to, I'm assuming, none that I've heard. Okay, the part-time for the officers, there's 22 full-time, and there's 5 part-time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And 31, yeah,
does.
yeah. And 31 average daily prisoners. And then the vehicles are all listed with the amounts. Last year we did the zoning commission liability, the ethical violation liability, and the floodplain regulation. And I'm just leaving them on the policy.
Okay.
I mean, and so that is what I have. I just need to get this signed so I can return it back to Mako so they can get the renewal on the property.
All right.
And I will find out on all them with Mel, and if the rodeo ground has them, I'll take them off and just change the coverage.
So, but you need this signed
I
now
do.
that we will be
Yes.
re-upping insurance and
Well,
general.
I'm sorry to bring that up, but
No,
it looks
that's,
to me like some of that's double insured.
with, oh yeah, we don't want that. There's no reason, I'll check with them happily. And if it is, like you said, why should we do it double?
Mhm. I would like a vote.
I would make a motion that we sign the renewal application with Mako.
I'll second.
Yes, we moved and seconded that we sign the renewal application with Mako JPIA. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. There you go.
All right. That's all I have.
Well, that's easy.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Any other questions? None.
Yes and no. The
Okay.
restroom is listed here at the fairgrounds, but I thought I heard you say that the rodeo club is paying for that.
There are several privies out there.
No, but I mean the big one. It says restroom on the bottom. First page, 3 up.
Yes. And multi-purpose room.
The multipurpose does belong to the county.
Okay. The restroom doesn't? And I can check with Mill on that too.
I would check with Mel.
Okay.
And like I say, I know for a fact that there's only one horse barn that belongs
To the county and
one
one,
to the
okay,
rodeo.
and that's easy then. You can get that indemnity piece for easy. Anything else?
Does it make a difference that we're gonna move the boat docks, some of them over here to this side of the lake?
The liability, I'm still checking on, the property themselves. I mean, whoever actually moves them should actually have the liability. It's really not the county's responsibility. Well, they're being moved from one side to the other, because the county's not in the liability business for moving docks. The property themselves, it's not a problem. Over there, they're great, and when they're moved over here, it's the in-between there's questionable about. So, I would definitely check, whoever is moving them to see if they're covered for liability. I mean, I don't think they can do too much damage crossing the lake, but you never know.
Stranger
Right.
things have been known to happen.
Exactly,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Some boat plow into or something.
Yeah, just something that simple.
Or the
Or
wind.
them plow into a boat would be more the,
Yeah, well, it'd be moving pretty slow across.
yeah,
Boats,
yeah,
jet ski or something like that.
yeah. So, I mean, it could be a possibility.
And were you checking on that too? Should we?
I
both
did, I
sides
do
check,
have
or-
a call, like I said, they're, more, they don't wanna do it.
Okay, all right,
They want the person moving it to be responsible.
okay. We can look into that, and if there's any questions, just
Yeah,
come to
just give
you.
me a call.
Okay,
I'm always at my office, so.
all right.
All right.
Sounds good.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks a
Thanks,
lot.
Julie.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
You too.
Do you want a copy of this and then for the notes? All right, 11:15, 11 o'clock actually, County Board Commission Liaison. This is something that we have done in the past. We kind of assigned or volunteered to act as liaisons for particular boards. We have not been members of those boards. We have not been working entities for those boards. Our roles have been to attend meetings and be open to any questions that they have of us on the budget, legal questions, that kind of thing. And then also, our jobs have been to report back to the board so that the entire board knows what different boards are doing. But again, not to be a member or take over work for those boards. So there's been some questions this year on whether or not we should actually have assigned liaisons for boards again, or if we should not do that this year and let the boards call us to come to a meeting when we're needed and ask questions that way. What do you guys think?
I think we need to appoint.
Okay.
I think we should let the boards notify us when they want something.
It's, the problem is that they get into something and they need an answer, and nobody's there to answer it. And so you're waiting until the next meeting.
Well, there again, you're just waiting for one board member to make a decision. How much decision can that person make anyway?
Well, but what they do is a lot of times they'll ask for legal questions. I mean, can we do such and such or whatever? And it's the commission's responsibility to know that answer and be able to give it to them right then.
We can't give any legal answers.
You can write out the codes.
Well, they have to do all that. I still think, and it's okay to go to the meeting stuff, but if, when there's something lined up that they need, I think they should come to here myself. That's my feeling.
And that was done in the past. It was something we changed, because it kind of, it's not a open relationship when one side is always required to come to us. And so our thinking a few years ago was, we should reach out to them as well.
Well, it'd still just be just as open. I mean, they're open, they're free to come anytime.
So
Send part of their delegation, or all want to come, or whatever.
So if we do want to go ahead and continue with the liaison, I think we need to remember that our roles are really to listen, not to jump in, to be available for questions, and then to report back to the board so that the rest of the board. And I think, with what you said, Elaine, I think the most important piece of that is the fact that we as the commission are supposed to be a resource for information. When we do attend the different meetings and listen and can report back, we actually are in keeping with what our role is as a source of information. So, I did not bring a list of boards. I forgot to bring those, but I think if you guys would like, we can go ahead and do it from memory, and then if we miss some, catch up on those next week, if that will work.
Yeah, I have the copy from last year.
Oh, with you?
Yeah, I might even have it with me.
Excellent.
You want it now?
Yes, please. We'll go ahead and, I've got a couple from memory, but if you've got your list, that would be great to go ahead and not miss any. Airport, weed, solid waste, Parks and Rec, fire, planning, fair.
Oops, I'm sorry. Trust board.
That'd be simple, I just took that over to the judges and made a copy of it.
It would.
Actually, I only have two more to write down. Okay, actually, we actually have them all. So, airport board, who would like to serve on the airport board? Or, actually, I should rephrase that, who would like to liaise with the airport board? Any takers?
I'd say everything as I was before, except apparently on the airport board, I cannot make it's the same meeting as Toscan Irrigation, so. And I talked to one time and they says, you know, it's not very important about even comers and I'd be bored, but, so if anybody else wants to go to the airport board, the rest of them I'd stay as I was there.
What ones were they, Franklin?
I would like to
Okay, I
actually
get that.
bring everyone up for discussion. I think it's good to kind of switch around and keep some, but I think we should discuss each one. But if you'd like to read what you were on before, Franklin, that would be great.
We're all on the county board of health. And the mosquito board, evidently, nothing was done on that last year. I was on that. The solid waste and the weed board, and the conservation I go there.
Okay, well, I would be more than happy to liaise with the airport board, since it does have that conflict. How about weed?
Yeah, I'll stay with that. And I'll stay with the other one, the weed, solid waste, and conservation.
All right, and mosquito, Franklin?
Yeah, if they have it last year, they never had any.
Is that okay with you, Elaine?
I'm fine with that.
All right.
Now, if somebody wants to mosquito, they can sure have it. Like I said, last year, they never had it.
All right, Parks and Rec.
Can I tell you which ones I had last year?
Absolutely.
I was on Rocky Mountain Development. The Fair Board. And the Fire Board.
All right, do you want to just keep the same ones then too?
I would like to.
Okay. All right, then that leaves Parks and Rec, which I would be more than happy to take. Planning is a hard one for us because if they talk about a subdivision by law, we can't be there. And that's not most of what they do, but I would say easily 50% or more. So I think we should maybe leave that one off. The trust board, I do already sit on that. Hospital district, does one of us want to sit on that? Since they take taxpayer money through the mills.
I would do that.
Okay. I will take the library then. I've been going to museum, although I haven't made it in a little while. Search and rescue, I'll take that one too again. And then, like Franklin said, Board of Health is all of us, and the TV district board is all of us, and I'll have a meeting for that here very shortly. Any others that we may have missed that you guys can think of?
Not a point.
So I would entertain a motion then.
But I want to make one statement.
Okay.
LEPC is the same time as Rocky, and so I can never make it to LEPC.
Yeah, we pretty much all three usually go to that, or
Yeah,
whoever's
and
available.
I can't, because it's a conflict, a direct conflict with Rocky Mountain Development.
Oh, for you it is, huh?
Yeah.
And we certainly don't need all three of us, which is why one of us
Right.
goes and liaises so that they can come back and give a report on that particular board. I've been going for 5 years. I'll continue.
I need to change now, huh?
Exactly. Old habits die hard.
Yeah.
All
Okay,
right.
I'll make a motion that we act as liaisons to the above named committees. Second?
No, I got a second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded for the board to act as liaisons for the various county boards. You want me to read those off, Dan? Okay, as discussed. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, Commissioners' Community Update. Franklin, what do you have to report on for this week?
All I did is go to the fireman's dinner.
All right.
Was it good?
Yeah, real good, excellent. They do a good job every year.
Elaine?
Just doctors.
All right, that's important. I did go to the meeting with Congressman Daines, as I spoke about earlier. There was about maybe 60 people there, and he gave us an hour and a half, which I thought was extremely generous for him. And I think I gave that report already. There was a webinar that was attended with the Extension Office this week, and that was on community development. There was a few of us there. BCDC met this week, and the silos was officially acquired by BCDC, and BCDC is now working with the NRCS to clean it up, clean up garbage, take out noxious weeds, that kind of thing. We're looking at about a 3-year plan. And then I also attended the fire district dinner last night. It was delicious, and Ray Baum was the fireman of the year this year, or last year, so big kudos to him. So I think that's it. We'll move on then. 11:30, we're about 3 minutes early, so we have a little bit of signature items here. I think we finished mail. We have a bill, a claim from the museum, and when we put in new phone systems, 3 or 4 years ago, we paid the bulk of the installation with the understanding that departments would pay their own monthly fees and upgrades. The museum was not included in that for some reason, so they would like to be included and annexed into the phone system. The initial fee is $556 for the equipment and installation, with the $18 a month. So their request of us is, can we pay the equipment and installation like we did for every other department, and they pick up the $18 a month. So if you guys are agreeable to that, we need to decide where the $556 will come from, and put that in the claim and sign the claim, and approve the claim.
I would make a motion that we do pay it. We paid for the other district and all the other offices. I think it's only proper that we do it with the.
Well, the only reason I go along with it, if we did it with all the other agencies,
Yeah.
we're just about bound to do it with them, but I think that's a pretty high charge there. Was the others all that high too?
It was very expensive because we had to get a phone system that is not your standard phone system.
Why
It's
do they
more-
have to have it at the museum for one thing? Can't just a regular phone work there for them? I don't know what else takes place. This is for internet and everything else.
No,
No, what I'm trying to explain to you is that the phone systems that the county has are not your basic phones that you'd use in your home, so they are more expensive. They're business phones. You can have an intercom between phones when there's an announcement from Debbie for various things or looking for different people. She's able to use an intercom system. Oftentimes Mike, for example, will be in the museum, and he would be able to hear that announcement over the phone looking for him.
conference calls.
Conference calls, absolutely.
That's the museum. How much is, people that isn't staffed all the time anyway, right?
Actually, you'd be surprised how much time they spend over there. You should maybe go over there and see how many hours they're there. The museum itself has set hours, but there's an awful lot of work that is done by the museum staff aside from just those hours that they're open. They're working year-round and 5 days a week.
Which actually a regular phone system would work all right.
It actually would, because the museum right now is separate of the rest of the county. They're not getting the updates, they're not getting the intercom systems, they don't have the conference call abilities. That's why they would like to have the same system everybody else has. The health department has done this, extension has done this, to all of a sudden treat the museum as less than the other departments, I don't think is correct, frankly.
Well, that's the only reason I'm going along with, because I went with the other, but probably at that time, there should have been some thinking. I can't see where they all of them needed, but being the others, all the other agencies had it, I'll go along with it. That's the only reason.
I would suggest, if it's okay with the board, that the $556 come from the contingency fund and the $18 a month from the museum
I
budget.
agree.
Is that okay with you guys?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, I am gonna ask for that as a motion, just because of the makeup of our,
I'll make a motion that we put the museum on the same phone system that the rest of the county offices are on, and take the money, the $550 from the contingency fund.
Yeah, I'll go along with it, with reservations.
it's been moved and seconded to include the museum on the county phone system for the installation to come from the contingency fund and the fees to come from the museum budget. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, and I will get a signature on this take it to Tammy. Okay, the next one is a letter of support. Oh, it's 11:30. Let's go ahead and move to the mental health building closure. This was brought to us last week from Mary Ellen Schnur, who represents the commission on the Regional Mental Health Board. And because they have not been able to find a therapist who would come to Broadwater County, or Marr or Jefferson, which I understand have also closed, the worry and the concern is, should we be spending money on a building where there is no therapist, therefore there cannot be a nurse, therefore there shouldn't be a receptionist, we have no ability to staff it, it's really just a building that we're paying to keep open and heat. So her suggestion was that we consider closing the mental health building. So I thought since this was of significant public interest, that we would also open this to public comment. But that I would open it to the board for preliminary comment and then for the members of the
I don't think it
body.
makes sense to keep it open and to heat it when we're not using it. That's money down a rat hole as far as I'm concerned.
Mhm.
So I think close it. I would love to see it be able to open back up and that we have a therapist that can help these people, but in the meantime, I think we need to close it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's what we decided last week, that
But we have to go through this process with the public.
doing it again.
We didn't vote on it, Franklin, and this is this job. We have to have public disclosure of everything we do.
I
This was
hope
not
so.
on, this was not on the agenda last week, so we couldn't actually make a decision. It was brought to us as a suggestion from our liaison with that board,
And we discussed it.
and we did discuss it, but we still have to bring it to the public for a final decision and put it on the agenda for a final decision. That's what we're doing today. So any further comment on this, Franklin?
No, I
All right. Any comments from the public on mental health building closure? Joe?
Does the county own the building?
No, we don't.
So you're renting it from somebody?
And yes, and that's what we're discussing today. Do we continue providing the service and the facility, or do we close it, hopefully temporarily? Any other comments?
Melinda.
Melinda Holm, who owns that building for one, that it's at right now? Does the
I don't
hospital
know.
own the building?
No, they don't. Do
I
either of
think
you
it
know
was
who owns it?
Marcia Biber, is that the old coffee shop?
No,
isn't
that's
it?
the one who owns. Okay, well, that money now that we have that you had to pay for that insurance or whatever, for the mental health, we either paid it or we don't get anything.
Mhm.
What is gonna happen now with that money? And if we have somebody right now, like say, 3 days from now that has medication problems or something we need, how are we gonna get access to that? Where is that money?
The money is not just for Broadwater County. What happens is I think it's 9 different counties pay into the region. That region money goes to the state, which then is transferred to the feds. Based on a formula, it is at least doubled depending on how much each is paid in. And then that money comes back to Broadwater County.
Okay, where is
But
that?
the therapist is actually hired for the region, and that's what a lot of that money goes to pay for. The therapist was coming to Broadwater County on a part-time basis, I believe it was only a month, to meet with people. There is not a therapist right now, so nobody's coming to Broadwater County, that's the issue. Where the money has gone to is into the pot. They are still looking for a therapist. I understand they are going to continue looking for a therapist, and should they find one, we will at that time visit reversing this decision. But there isn't one right now, so that money is still being used to service mental health issues. However, it looks like the people from Marr County, Jefferson County, and Broadwater County are gonna have to go to Helena until they figure this out. And that's an incredible disservice to our locals, but our hands are tied.
And last week she had that, where you can, if you're interested in this board and those things at the bottom of those grants and things like that. Since I don't know anything about computers, I had to have somebody get that information for me, but when I look at that, that all is basically, I look at it as a